Welcome to One with the Other Way, a podcast about your journey and finances. I'm your host, James, and today we're talking about employee benefits and especially answering some commonly asked questions. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Welcome to One with the Other Way, a podcast about your journey and finances. I'm your host, James, and today we have Peggy Van Hook, one of our advisors for Finances for a Life, with us today. In today's episode, we're talking about employee benefits. I thought we would just kind of open this up. I've kind of put together some, I feel like, commonly asked questions regarding employee benefits. And, you know, the number one question I feel like people ask is how much should they put into their retirement? But I feel like that's you have your own answer for that, I feel like.
Yeah, well, I mean, as much as you can put into your retirement, right? We have that whole thing about we want you to have a good life now and a good life in the future. So that's going to be a individual question for each person, depending on their financial needs for the future, their financial needs now, what they can do. I mean, obviously, we want you to put as much as you can into your retirement accounts, your financial plan for the future. So I don't know that the limits, if you could put in the max, then hey, good for you. And maybe that's where you should do it. But I think that talking to your financial planner and discussing the whole plan and where you're going to get your different income.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And the second question that I see frequently is, can I access these retirement savings, and what kind of penalties, what might I be looking at?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of people wonder about that. And you can access them for very specific life events. Generally, you should look at these things as savings for your retirement in the future. For retirement, don't look at it like it's a savings account. It's not. It's for your future. It's best to put the money there and to leave it for your retirement.
And then penalties wise?
Well, there's penalties, definitely. I mean, there are penalties if you take the money out too soon, if you take it out before your retirement age. There are penalties. There's tax consequences in addition to penalties. Like I said, there are specific items that you are allowed to take them out for. But I would advise you to talk to your financial advisor before you make any plans to take money out of your retirement savings accounts.
And then number 3 is, what's the difference between a traditional 401k and a Roth 401k?
Well, I mean, the difference between traditional and Roth are pre-tax dollars and post-tax dollars. So they're tax deferred. If you put money into a traditional 401k, that money is taxed when you take it out. So it's a deduction from your income today. But then when you take the money out, the money that you put in and the money that it has earned, hopefully, will be taxed as regular taxable income. And a Roth, you pay the tax on the money today. And when you take the money out in the future, it is not taxed. Those are the basic differences. I mean, it's complicated. I mean, basically, when you're talking about employee benefits, you want to look at the plan and you want to know all the benefits available to you from your employer. I don't like to leave free money on the table. So when you're looking at your 401k, when can you get into it? As quickly as you can get in, you should get in. A lot of employers have automatic enrollment, so you'll automatically be enrolled. Just because you're automatically enrolled doesn't mean you should just let it happen and not pay attention, because it'll automatically enroll you. It'll automatically put those funds into a specific type of investment that it picks for you, and that may not be where it should be. So a lot of them do the automatic enrollment. Pay attention. Once you can get in, get in. Talk to your financial advisor. Look at your plan documents. You want to get into these plans. There are lots of different types of employee benefits: 403Bs, 401Ks. Some smaller companies have other plans. Sometimes there are state mandated plans. There are health benefits. There's HSA accounts, FSA accounts, HRA accounts. So, I mean, I would just urge you to really talk to HR, get a benefit package sheet, tells you when you can get in, talk to your financial advisor, and get into these plans. And then once you're in, don't just ignore them. Periodically, you need to review them. You need to review how much you're putting in. You need to review what it's invested in. Right. And then another big thing I think that we see is people leaving them behind when they go to other employers.
Yeah, that was my
And
next question. Yeah, what happens when you change employment? What happens?
well, I mean, that's going to depend on the plan. Some plans have minimums and you have to take the money when you leave. And you got to be careful with those because that can have tax consequences depending on how they send it to you. So you need to pay attention to that as well. A lot of plans you can roll over into your new plan. Almost all 401k plans have that. So you could take the 401k money that you had in your previous employer and roll it into your new employer. So there's that option for you. There are individual retirement accounts that you can roll it into. It's so hard to make these decisions without having, a full understanding of what your options are. And the best way
Hmm.
to get that is to talk to your financial advisor. We can help you look at the plan. We can help you decide your options. We can educate you, right? That's our
Hmm.
job, is to educate you. We're always talking about how we want to provide clarity. We want to give you your options so you understand them so that you can make an informed decision and you can get the best benefits. A lot of employers give you matching funds. So, what
Hmm.
does that mean? That means I put money in from my pay. So, my pay goes down, right? So, I'm going to put money in. But the employer then will take and put money in also. And a lot of times that money is based on what I put in. So,
Hmm.
it'll have a max usually. They'll say you can have 3% up to 6%. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Well, that means that they'll put in 3% of my pay if I put in 6%, right? So that's what I call free money, right? I'm
Yeah.
going to put that as much as I can to get the maximum from my employer.
Hmm.
That's part of your benefits. It's packaged. You should think of it as part of your compensation. A lot of people, when they go to interviews, well, what is your, benefits? What are the benefits? They ask that question, but they don't necessarily know what all that
What
means to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
that
to their
brings up
future.
another question, which is, you have this matching program, but this brings up another idea of vesting.
Oh, yeah.
And what would you say, to help clarify on what being vested means in your retirement?
All right, well, that is important. So almost all plans have a vesting schedule. So there's legislation on some of that, but basically it means that you have to work at a employer for X amount of time before you get into plans, first of all. Then when you do get into the plan, you have to work at the employer for some period of time before you're vested. Vested just means what's the percentage of the money that my employer puts in that I can take with me when I leave. So
Mm-hmm.
a common one is after 6 years of employment, you would be 100% vested. Now, that's the employer's portion. It's not the employee's portion. Your money you own, right? The
Hmm.
money they give you, you have to wait until you're vested. So if you leave, you may not get all of it, but you have to weigh those decisions also.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So a lot of people have money in 401ks and it's sitting there and they're not touching it. Hey, that's great. Don't touch it. But don't ignore it. I would really just urge people, find out what's available to you, sign up, review it, invest it, and then keep reviewing it. Those
Hmm.
are like the most important things. And you should review it with your financial advisor. Your plan will have a person that you can talk to help you decide how to invest the money. If you don't have your own financial advisor, which I strongly urge you to get a financial advisor, I believe that every family, no matter where you are on the economic scale, should have a financial advisor. So I urge you to get a financial advisor. If you don't have a financial advisor, then I really think you should talk to the plan sponsor. So whoever is the person that you fill out the paperwork with and you sign up for the plan and they come and they do meetings with you and they discuss the plan, ask those people at the minimum about your investments in the plan
Hmm.
and which maybe is the right choice for you if you don't know.
Yeah, that's good. And then can you contribute to both a 401k and an IRA in the same year?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. And that is also another reason that you should have a financial advisor. In some cases, yes, you can do both. And you really might want to do that because it could actually really help you in the long run when you get to retirement age. So, we're talking all the time about time being the most important factor of your investing life, right? The sooner you start, the better it's going to be in the end. So I would urge you to discuss that with a financial advisor, and perhaps you will have a individual retirement account and also a 401k account.
Great.
All right. So our takeaways are: sign up for your 401ks or your whatever retirement and employer benefits are available to you. Invest them and review them. And then review them.
Great. And if you ever would like to schedule an appointment with us at Finances for Real Life, you can visit us at our website, financesforreallife.com. I'll have it in the show notes. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So thank you for listening. We hope this was informative, and keep an eye out. In the next 2 weeks, we'll have another podcast. So great. Perfect. Later, guys. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in the next episode. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advice offered through Finances for Real Life, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision.